Hello, this is Mike at Game from Scratch, and welcome to week 20 of This Week in Game Development. A quick recap of the happenings in the world of game development for the week ending April the 3rd, 2016. Now, I've got an ongoing session of these. There's obviously 20 of them. They're all in a playlist, so if you want to catch up on prior news, they're all there, YouTube playlist. I will link that down below. And on top of that, I'm actually changing the way the links are working. I've had some feedback that basically say that the links in comments in YouTube are pretty much illegible. So I'm going to go about actually creating a companion post every week on Game from Scratch that just contains a point form list of all of the stories covered and an embedded version of the video. Obviously, once the video is up and encoded, there's a chicken and egg thing happening here, but we'll be working from that link thing. So there'll just be the one link down below today, and you'll be able to get all the stories there. So that way they should be a little bit more legible. So without further ado, let's jump right into today's stories. First and foremost, Tiled 0.16 was released. Tiled is an open source 2D map creating software. You can do hexagonal, normal, and isometric maps using tiles or arbitrary shapes. You can do quite a bit here. This one added a new installer and an auto update option, and improved the property editing settings as well as the ability to actually add types. So that's kind of nice. The types that are supported are string, int, float, and bool. So that is, you can tag custom properties that go with your tile map. So each tile can have its own properties, and those properties now in turn can have types. So that makes integrating tiled map data, proprietary or custom data into your app a lot easier. So definitely one to check out there. Next up, we have Microsoft. Now, Microsoft actually is in the news a lot this week because this week is their MS Build conference. And part of MS Build is basically, it's their developer conference. So they talk about, all the various products they're working on, and some of that actually includes the Xbox this year. And what they announced is twofold. First off is UWP, which is Universal Window Platform. It's a set of code you can write it once and run it on Windows Mobile, Xbox 10, PC, obviously. And they're all through the Microsoft Store. So basically, they're trying to create their own walled garden, sort of like the Google and Apple app stores, but with code that can run across all the platforms. So now you're going to be able to run UWP apps on Xbox One. On top of that, you can also turn your Xbox One into a dev kit. So this is kind of cool. It's completely software driven, so that there's no cost, there's no hardware involved. You download something, you turn it over, it changes. You need to have Windows 10 PC, a wired connection from your PC to your Xbox One, install Visual Studio 2015, and 30 gigs of free storage. Oh, and you also have to join the Windows Insider program, at least for now. I'm not sure if that's forever. All of those things are completely free, mind you. And when you're done, basically, you can now develop to your Xbox One. However, big however, they've said straight out that there are some issues. You may not be able to run some games, etc. And if you want to turn your Xbox One back into a non-dev kit, you'll have to actually do a factory reset on it. So you'll lose all your games, all your saves, etc. You'll have to do a reinstall. But now you can actually develop directly on the Xbox One, which is definitely a cool thing. Now, next up, we have another Microsoft update, which is Visual Studio 2015 Update 2 was released. Obviously, you've got some UWP, is that Universal Windows Platform, app improvements, C++, 11, 14, and 17 compliance is better. They implemented every C++ standard library that's voted into the 11, 14, and 17 standards. So much more compliant C++ from their end. You can now import iOS Xcode projects, C# usability improvements, extensions auto updating, NuGet improvements, version control improvements, TypeScript 1.8 was released, and most importantly, performance improvements. Now, this is one of those problems with Visual Studio. 2013 started to get slow. 2015 is slow, and they need to do a reboot here, which is unfortunate because they also have the next version, which is confusingly called Visual Studio 15, and it is available in a preview right now as well. And so they're basically not doing a rewrite yet. And I kind of want to see Microsoft go about do a full rewrite. It's getting a little old, getting a little long in the tooth. And don't get me wrong, I love Visual Studio. At least I have since pretty much the beginning, other than VisualStudio.net, which was awful. But all the rest of them have been great. Even 2013 was great. But 2015, as I said, is starting to get so let's hope these performance improvements actually make things better, and that 15, which is available now from Microsoft if you wish, goes a step further down the performance road, but I have a feeling they need to do a rewrite soon. Start from a fresh code base, make it all new. We'll see what happens there. I wonder if they'll start trying to morph Visual Studio Code into a bit more of an IDE in time and develop those in parallel. It'd be interesting to see exactly what happens there. But anyways, the Visual Studio 2015 Update 2 is now available. Next up, we have Cocos Creator. Cocos Creator 1.0 was released. Now, Cocos Creator is from the Cocos 2DX project. It is a JavaScript-based 2D game engine and editor all in one. I actually did a hands-on video with it just recently, so if you want to go to the link, you can see exactly what's there. Now, the 1.0 release adds better coding environment, reliable native development and publishing workflow. That's confusing. New UI elements, including the edit box and grid layout, and spine animation support, as well as tile map support. So that's both definitely cool. Spine I'll be looking at very shortly in the future. It's a great little animation project that allows you to animate 2D drawings, basically using bones. So as I said, I'll have some upcoming content on Spine. So if you want to stay tuned for that, you can. If you want to see a little bit more about Cocos Creator, I created this about a month ago. So it's version 0.9 or whatever, the one version before this one that the video covers. But you can get a good idea of exactly what Cocos Creator is. Completely free, by the way. Next up, and hands down, this is the big news of the week. And this did not shock me in the slightest, as Microsoft bought Xamarin a couple months back, and I've been waiting for them to basically say the tools are all going to be free, and they are. So congratulations right now. As long as you fit the category for Visual Studio Community users, which makes less than $1 million or $2 million a year, a team of less than 5 or 5 or less. So if you fall into the category of being able to use Visual Studio Community, you can now use Xamarin completely free. Also, if you're a Mac developer, the Xamarin Professional Studio product is now available for free as well. Now, what Xamarin does is it allows you to run .NET applications on iOS and Android devices. And it's quickly becoming the de facto standard for porting .NET apps to mobile devices as a result. So, nice thing to see is we are now all access it. And one step cooler is it's actually available completely open source. It's part of the .NET Foundation umbrella of projects. I've got it linked from here. So if you want to see all the various pieces of the .NET Foundation, you can. See if they've actually updated this yet. No, they haven't. So Xamarin is going to be part of this group of applications. And the cool thing is a couple of other companies just joined the .NET Foundation projects. One was JetBrains. The other one was, so JetBrains is the maker of IntelliJ, IDE, ReSharper, various other really good IDEs. So they've joined the .NET Foundation. Red Hat, oddly enough, joined the .NET Foundation, and Unity. So as in Unity, the game engine Unity. And one of the big moves there potentially is Unity is based on, it's an ancient version of .NET. Like we're talking 2 point something. Like, so C# is horrifically out of date in Unity. So hopefully we see some movement. There was actually a post on the Unity blog about their plans there. That's a little vague at times, but it does sound like they will be making and joining and updating C#. So let's hope we see that. Let's hope we see that soon. I guess only time will tell on that one. But anyways, you can now do C# development on Android and iOS completely free. So that's definitely a very cool development. And there's a number of game engines out there that really benefit from this. You've got Otter. Let me try. I can't even think right now. Let me just bring up some of the lists. So yeah, Duality is a C# based engine. Otter is a C# based engine. Wave Engine is a C# based engine. Paradox/Zenko, it is now called, is a C# based game engine. I think that's it on this level. Oh, Urho 3D actually has a C# binding available now, etc. There's a number of great C# based game engines that always basically required you to pay Xamarin if you wanted to run on iOS or Android. So now you are saving $400 per developer per platform, and you can just run it on those platforms anyway. So that's definitely a cool move. C# just got a whole lot better. So that's nice to see. And definitely this week's big news. Slightly less big news, especially because we've been seeing the preview patches for the last 4 weeks, Unreal Engine 4.11 was released. And one thing you got to give Unreal credit for is they pack the features in. I've summarized them here. So performance multi-threading improvements, realistic hair and eye shading, skin shadings improved, claw shadings improved. Your capsules can now give soft shadows off, particle depth of field, dithered opacity maps, VR improvements, better depth of field, DirectX 12, DirectX 12 Xbox One, there are various SDKs such as Steam, Oculus Rift, NVIDIA, Physics, PlayStation, etc. They've updated to the newer versions. Metal rendering on macOS. Metal is sort of like a Vulkan or DirectX 12 level, low-level graphics API for Mac only. So they've got support there on Mac OS, various other features. So there's a whole lot here. And this is not really doing justice for each one of these features. If you are a registered developer, click here, go to the release notes for Unreal Engine itself, and you'll see they've got full descriptions of all the stuff they have. They have the most thorough release notes you will ever see from a game engine, and they added a whole lot in this particular release. So kudos to Unreal for continuing to bring out these great releases. Another release this week, this one actually came out on April Fool's Day, or right before April Fool's Day, so I didn't report it until after because I actually avoid the internet for April 1st. So if you saw no news, that's why. I can't stand it. I don't like dealing with it, especially from a news perspective. So this one was reported a bit late. I apologize. By the way, next year, same deal. The year after, same deal. I just don't use the internet on April Fool's Day, and that helps me keep my sanity. But anyways, this was released right around that time frame. Wave Engine is a C# based 2D, 3D, currently free game engine. They just hit their 2.0, now 2.1 release. They added a new profile system, visual editor offline, so you don't have to be connected to the Wave Engine website. I think you have to connect once a week now or something like that. Excuse me. Project Upgrader tool. I forget what that is. Once again, Spine comes in. Their Spine support is upgraded. So Spine being that 2D animation package that I talked about earlier. Tile map support. So once again, Tiled is coming into the story as well. iOS storyboard support, static entities on Visual Editor, and non-serializable entities. These are the big things. And again, you can go into their actual release notes, and they go into quite a bit more depth than obviously just my point form list. So you can see what these actual features are. Next up, and finally, and I believe this was just announced today, Allegro 5.2 was released. Now, Allegro is a C++ based game engine. It's been around since the 90s, completely free, open source, covers pretty much same in scope as your SDL or SFML. So those three are basically mentioned in the same sentence quite often. So it provides for controller, 2D graphics, window handling, input, that kind of stuff. I believe sound as well. So new release added just a bunch of new features and functionality, mostly fixes across their various ports, etc. So is event source registered added, make destructor logs more meaningful. You know, there's nothing really revolutionary here, but definitely an evolutionary install going on here. Quite a few little fixes and small changes, etc. So that was just released today as Allegro 5.2. So if you're looking for kind of a low-level 2D C++ game engine, consider checking out Allegro. It's completely free, open source as well. And I think there's a bit of a hiatus on their development, but they seem to be churning along at a pretty good rate. So that's it. That is This Week in Game Dev. Now, once again, once this video is up and published, I'm going to actually embed this down below, and this will be the only link I give today. So each one of these links, as we saw as we were using them today, link to all of the pages we're using, and then, of course, those all have links to more about the stories. So I'll be doing this from now on. So if you want to check in on a weekly basis at Game from Scratch on the weekend, Saturday or Sunday, you'll see a new post of this type every week. Now let me know if this works out for you, or if you prefer I went back to the adding the comments directly in the YouTube comment box. As I said, that's a little illegible, people were telling me, so hopefully this works a little bit better. So the only link you will find in the comments down below is to this page, which in turn will, kind of looping manner also contain the video, plus all the links you saw here. So that's it. That's This Week in Game Development. Hope you enjoyed that. See y'all later.